Hi everyone! Today I'm doing a process video showing how I put together the first few pages of my 2021 Citrus Twist Kits Life Crafted album. And this is primarily using pattern papers from Coco Daisy's new chapter collection. So the first page I have here just shows me documenting New Year's Day, as well as a slide out that I created with some stamps from Coco Daisy, as well as Close to My Heart. This element here is a transparency from one of Ali Edwards' older kits. This was a spread I did documenting a walk in our local park, and this is using all of papers and elements from Coco Daisy's kit. And then my last spread that I did on this video was documenting my trip to get my first COVID-19 vaccine dose, and this is featuring more elements from Coco Daisy, as well as some of the digital stamps from the Hamilton set from Everyday Explorers. This is one of their digital stamp sets that they have available. So if you'd like to see how I put these three spreads together, then just keep watching. So here I have on my desk a couple of elements that I'm hoping to use on my spread. So a couple of elements from Coco Daisy, as well as this printable composition notebook type cover page from an Etsy store. I will put a link down in the description box below. And here I'm cutting it to 5 inches by 8 3/8 of an inch, which is the same size as a Citrus Twist Kits Life Crafted album page protector. And I start off all of my Life Crafted albums this way just to keep things consistent. And so I have that label stamped there. The label stamp set is from LE Studio, and the alphabet stamp set that I used to stamp out the 2021 Volume 1 is from Hero Arts. So here I'm just gluing down my label, and I'm going to be using one of the page protectors to mark down where the holes should be so that I can punch the holes afterwards. Here I have a piece of pattern paper from the Coco Daisy new chapter collection, and I decided that I want a flip up where this photo is going to be in front of that or behind that pocket card there. So here I'm going through the rest of my pocket cards from the new chapter collection just to see, find one that I can journal on afterwards. And I decide to go with the one with the gray strip on the side with the daisies there. And here I'm using one of the Close to My Heart flip pockets to put my journaling card as well as my photo in. And in the top pocket, I have the swatch card that comes in the Coco Daisy planner add-on kits every month. And on top of that, I've layered a transparent card with the month on it, and that's from Ali Edwards' One Little Word kit from last year. Next, I'm going to work on the back of my cover page here. So the goal was to use one of these stamps from Close to My Heart. This is called Through Thick and Thin, and it features this toilet paper roll with like a long toilet paper trailing off the end of it. So I wanted the top of the toilet paper roll to represent like a 0 for at the end of 2020, and the bottom of the toilet paper roll I wanted to stamp a 1, and I wanted this toilet paper roll to be able to slide out of the pocket so that you could see it transitioning from 2020 to 2021, which is at the end of this toilet paper roll. I made a lot of mistakes when I was doing this page, so make sure you watch to the very end while I make the spread so that you can avoid the errors that I make. So I have a couple of things going on here. First of all, I've stamped the toilet paper roll onto a strip of white cardstock. And next I'm choosing out a circle die that's going to enable me to look through the circle and see that there is a toilet paper roll there. And so you can see that I've cut that out. And the idea is I'm going to be able to slide that piece of the toilet paper roll up so that it reveals the 1 at the end of the roll. Next, I'm using the Coco Daisy alphabet stamp set. This came in the, it wasn't in any of the planner or memory keeping kits. It was like a separate purchase that you can make, but it's an alphabet stamp and I love this font. And I'm just going to stamp 202 so that that part of the year stays on the white rectangular cardstock and the last digit gets stamped on the toilet paper. You'll see here that I decided to trim off that extra piece that was overhanging on the strip of paper with my toilet paper on it. I really didn't need to do this because it's ultimately going to go behind the pattern piece of paper anyways, so, but there you have it. And next I'm going to use that same shape of circle die that I used for cutting out the hole at the end of my 2020 year, and use that to cut a hole in my pattern paper. And just making sure everything is lined up before I tape that into place. Because there isn't a lot of room around the circular window that I created, I did use my 1/8 of an inch score tape just to make sure that all the edges are going to be covered when I tape this down. Just using my Tim Holtz design ruler to make sure that I have that label straight onto the page. And next I'm going to create a notch on the top of this piece here, just to make sure that I have a bit of a holding place so that I can pull out the strip with the toilet paper on it. You'll see that I did mark down where the strip of paper is supposed to come out off the top of the page, and I just made a couple of marks so that I could center my circle punch and punch that in the correct place. I had some scrap paper here. This was the circle that I had cut out of the pattern piece of paper there. So I just decided to use the other side of that pattern piece of paper and cut out a circle so that I could stick that on the top of my sliding portion, just so that I have a place that indicates that this is where you hold to pull out the sliding piece. And this is where I made my first kind of error. So you'll notice that the strip of paper with the toilet paper roll on it is the same height as the Citrus Twist Life Crafted album page. So the problem with that is then you can't slide the toilet paper roll piece completely down and seal the pocket. So I would recommend to cut down the strip of paper to at least about 1/2 inch away from the bottom of the page so that you have somewhere to adhere the bottom of this page shut. And you'll kind of see what I mean when I get to the part where I notice that this is a mistake. Here I'm just making a little belly band so that it will guide the piece of paper as it slides in and out of the pocket and it doesn't go every which way across the page. So what I did was I just wrapped a piece of white cardstock kind of a bit loosely around the strip of paper with the toilet paper on it. And you'll see that the first time I tried to do it, it was ended up being a mess and it was a bit too tight. And I had to do it another time to get it loose enough so that I could slide the slip of paper down into the belly band. So once I make sure that the strip of paper can slide in the belly band just fine, I'm going to make a stopper piece for my interactive element just so that it's not sliding all the way up out of the pocket when I go to pull it. And the goal is to have it just stop right where the 1 shows up in that window there. And the way I do that is by positioning the 1 so that it's in that window, and while it's in that place, I'm going to hold the belly band portion down and mark down where the belly band is supposed to go so that when the slider piece, when that stopper piece hits the belly band, that's where it stops. And you'll see a bit more clear when I go and adhere this belly band down onto my page. Again, the bottom of this stopper piece really shouldn't have gone all the way down to the bottom of the page because that just makes it so that I can't seal the bottom of that pocket later on. So here I just take out that interactive strip just to try to cut down some of the bottom of that piece a bit in order to have enough room to seal the bottom of my page, but that's not nearly enough. Yeah, we'll just see what happens later on. Next, I'm just preparing to adhere that interactive element to the front page that I prepared at the start of the video. And I just realized that I need maybe like a piece of twine there, just to make it easier to pull that interactive piece out. Usually I make my pockets and interactive elements with foam tape, so the foam tape gives the fingers a bit of wiggle room to pull that piece out, but since this is going to be a relatively flat page, hopefully, I'll just need a bit of twine on the top of this tab just to make sure that I have something to hold on to pull out the interactive element. So here's where I start to use my score tape to adhere my interactive element to the back of my cover page that I created at the beginning of the video. And here is where things start to go wrong. So first of all, I thought like, oh, wouldn't it be a great idea to create a stopper piece for the top of this interactive strip so that it doesn't fall out the end of the pocket, and I tape the stopper piece to the front of my toilet paper roll stamp where I have stamped the image, and it covers up the image, and I don't even realize this while I'm trying to tape everything down. And the next thing I'm doing wrong here is I'm adding tape where there should not be tape. So ideally you want to have score tape only at the edges of your page so that the interactive element, because it's wider in some parts than others, it needs the room to be able to slide up and down. And here, by adding all the score tape around, I'm just not giving it enough space to slide around. And I don't realize that, unfortunately, until I remove all the tape backing from my interactive element. And here you can see that not only do I have a stopper piece that covers the front of my stamped image, but I also like literally cannot slide this interactive piece out. So here's where I kind of like carefully tried to peel these pieces of paper apart. And unfortunately, score tape is very, very sticky once you stick it down. So this was not easy to do, but I did manage to do it in the end. After a bit of patience, I turned off the camera because I was just not having a good day, and I did manage to get the pieces of paper apart. I ended up ripping some parts of it, but by the time I glued it all down together, it really didn't show that much. And so you'll notice here that since I wasn't able to have enough room on the bottom of my page to stick down the pocket, I did have the sliding piece protruding a bit off the top of the page, which at this point in time I really didn't care. So I just stamped the 0 to complete my 2020, and then when you slide it out, it reveals 2021. Here I'm just punching the holes so that this can go into my Life Crafted album. And then I just ran that pocket card through my typewriter to do my journaling. And then I decided to take out some chipboard pieces and enamel dots from the Cocoa Daisy New Chapter collection just to help jazz up this pocket card a bit. And I stamped the date that this photo was taken on, which was January 1st, with the Heidi Swapp date roller stamp that I always use for my Life Crafted album pages. I did cut down one of the sticker flags from the planner add-on kit to create kind of like a handle to indicate that I can flip that page up. And here I'm moving to my next spread for this album. And this is just documenting a walk that we had in our local park. I knew that the next page that I was going to be working on was going to be a fold-out page, so that's why I left that score mark in. And so I cut my page to be a bit wider than the 5 inches that the Citrus Twist Life Crafted album page protectors are usually at. Before I do anything on this page, I'm just going to make sure that I have my holes marked where they should be, and then just punch the holes just to make sure that when I'm placing elements on the page, I'm not accidentally placing them over where the holes should be. And I also moved my album off screen because those pocket pages were creating way too much glare there. Next, I'm just going over the rest of what I have left in the New Chapter collection to see what I might want to put on this page. So I pull out all of my pocket cards and scraps of pattern paper. And I decided to go with the pocket card that says, "Here's the story" up top, as well as this leftover piece of pattern paper that I had from when I covered the Daisy Dory for my planner. It has a flower element, and I thought it would be nice to cut that out and adhere it to this page. Also decided to play around with these die cut stickers that came in the modern memory keeping kit here. So I have a sticker that says photo favorite that I'm going to add to the next to the statue of the goose. And then I've picked a couple of pieces for the matching page as well. One circle piece that says winter days that I'm going to add close to the journaling. And for my pocket card that says, "Here's the story," I wanted to make that stand out from the piece of pattern paper with the chevron stripes. So I just grabbed a piece of spare black cardstock that I had on hand and cut that to a quarter of an inch wider and taller than the pocket card, just so that I can have a mat so that it stands out from the background a bit more. I also grabbed one of those tab stickers from the main planner kit, just so that I could add my date to the top of this spread here. And then as I was gluing the pieces down, I noticed that there wouldn't be enough space for my whole flower. So I decided to cut off some of the stem there so that I can overlap the pieces a bit and make the flower a bit shorter, essentially, so that the whole flower fits and doesn't obscure the typing on my journaling card there. Next, I'm just going to add a bit of texture to my page by tearing the edge of this paper a bit, as well as adding some stitching to this background pattern paper. So I don't actually have a sewing machine. So what I use for my stitching is this handheld device. The brand is Sun, and it is a hand machine, kind of like a stapler, but instead of stapling, it creates stitches. And I can't provide a link for this, unfortunately, because it's from my parents and probably quite old. And this is just what I use because I don't have a sewing machine. With this stitching device, I found that the threads at the back tend to be a bit looser and tend to unravel quickly if I don't tape it down. So I just made sure to tape down the loose ends with my score tape before I glue down this whole assembly to my base page. Here I'm just cutting that planner tab in half so that I can use the other half on a different project. And then I'm just stamping with the same ruler date stamp, the date for when we took this walk. And as I'm starting to glue everything down, I realized that my journaling card has a bit of blank space on the left-hand side there. So I decided to move the flower to the left-hand side so that it can be the full length. I didn't actually have to cut it down after all, but there you go. This Cocoa Daisy kit happened to come with, I think these were in the planner add-on collection, these bird stickers that actually had the birds dressed up in like toques and little scarves and things like that. So I thought these birds were perfect to go on the spread because I have their pictures of these geese statue that were dressed up in little knitted winter wear. So I thought that was so cute and just matched perfectly with the pictures that I had. I added this quote bubble sticker that says, "Does shivering count as exercise?" Because it was very cold that day, and that pretty much finishes up my spread. Moving on to my next page, this spread was documenting me going for my first dose of my COVID-19 vaccine. I was so excited to finally get this vaccine. And so I printed out this super large photo because I was just so excited that day. To help me document this occasion, I'm using this digital stamp set from Everyday Explorers Co. called Hamilton, and it's based on the musical Hamilton, if you've seen it. And you'd think because Hamilton primarily evolves around American politics that this might not be applicable for a COVID vaccine, but there were so many relevant phrases here. I was really surprised by that. The first one I picked out that I knew I wanted to use was this one that says, "I am not throwing away my shot." And I wanted to use that because vaccines are like shots and I'm not throwing away my chance for getting this vaccine. But then I pulled out one that says how lucky we are to be alive right now. And of course, I'm not referring to the fact that there's COVID in the world right now, but rather the fact that now science and technology have advanced to the point where we pretty much have been a year since we've had the COVID virus around the world, and we have a vaccine now. And I just think that's such an amazing accomplishment that scientists are now able to do that, and how lucky we are to have vaccines available for these diseases that would have otherwise killed many more people. So back to scrapbooking, I decided to cut that photo around where that fold line would be, just because it is a bit harder to fold the photo paper, especially because it's glossy, and so if there are any wrinkles, it shows a lot more easier on the photo paper. And then you'll notice that I had cut out those Hamilton digital stamps with my circle dies, just so that I can have these pieces acting as more like embellishments to this page. And I do realize that this is by no means a fancy way of using digital stamps. Like, I could have maybe printed it out and foiled them, or I could have like printed them directly on the photo, or maybe foiled them directly on the photo. Those are all good ideas, but I printed the photo before I managed to get this digital stamp set. So this was just the easiest way that I thought of including them. I did end up backing that front piece onto some black cardstock just to give it more definition over the light daisy page that I used as the background paper here. Next, I wanted to use this highlights stamp from the Hamilton collection, as well as this circle piece here that says "The world turned upside down," because I do think this was like the highlight of my month pretty much, and the world will turn upside down when everyone gets their vaccines and everyone is fully immunized. Hopefully we can get back to kind of like a new normal. And I'm just using one of the Cocoa Daisy free printables that coordinated with this collection as my journaling page. And because I have so many circle embellishments going on here, I went through the rest of the Cocoa Daisy chipboard stickers and the die cut pieces that I had left to find any of the circle pieces that would match this page. So I picked one that said January 2021. That's a chipboard piece, as well as a circle that says "True Story," and then another chipboard piece that says "Feeling Optimistic." To finish off the bottom of this page, I found this leftover piece I had cut down from one of the journaling cards that says "A lot can happen in 1 year." And so I just took my corner chomper to cut it into kind of like a tag shape, as well as some blue ink just to kind of give this a more defined edge so that it will stand off the page a bit easier. Next, I'm just gluing everything down. I just wanted the circle elements to kind of cascade up the page, so it draws your attention from the lower kind of left corner to the top right corner there. And I am going to fill out some of the empty spaces with some glitter enamel dots that came in one of the Cocoa Daisy kits as well. You might have also noticed that I stuck more to like kind of black and white elements as well as some light blue ones, just because I wanted it to match not only the photo that I have there, but also the daisy paper that's light blue in color on the flap that folds in and out there. It took me a bit of playing around to see where exactly I was going to place all these circle elements, just kind of trialing them in different places. But in the end, I love how this spread turned out. And here I am just adding the last few glitter enamel dots, and that pretty much finishes up my page. So here's just a quick flip through of the first 3 pages that I've completed in my Life Crafted album 2021. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, make sure you subscribe for more videos and click the like button. And also visit me on Instagram because I have posted a lot of close-ups of these spreads. And thanks very much for watching.